Welcome to Swing State University, a college golf and lifestyle podcast. I'm your host, James Boone. And joining us this week from Columbia University, freshman Alejandro Formosa. This episode of Swing State University is brought to you by 2-Putt Coffee. Success on the course starts with a solid routine, and 2-Putt Coffee is the fuel that keeps golfers focused and relaxed. Collegiate golfers interested in 2-Putt's newly launched ambassador program that includes exclusive product discounts, social media exposure, brand collaborations, and more can email hello@2puttcoffee.com with the subject line College Ambassador to find out more. And as a token of appreciation, Swing State University listeners can take 30% off their next order through 2puttcoffee.com using the code SwingStateU. That's SwingState and the letter U for 30% off any order of grade 1 single origin coffee and merch. Play relaxed and focus on what counts with 2-Putt Coffee. All right, you ladies and gentlemen, we are wrapping up our spring lineup, man. 5th episode of the spring so far. I think if you're listening at this point, we're like 2 weeks out from April. The Masters is rolling around. Into the spring season is kind of like in the midst. We have conference play coming up, NCAA Regionals, National Championship, and then we're in the off season. So Spring State University, we're moving right along. We have just a really, really cool show today. We were talking off air with our guest today, and I think we talked for literally an hour before hitting record. And so I already apologized to him in advance for making him late for class and all this stuff. But we're going to cover lots of themes of moving to a school completely across the country, moving to a school in the largest city in the United States, in New York City, in the Big Apple. What does it look like to play college golf in that environment, in that context? But then also just our guest is just an incredible dude. He's our first freshman that we've ever had on the show. And so I think he'll provide a very fresh, no pun intended, very fresh perspective on what it looks like to play collegiate golf in the Ivy League. And then also, I think even maybe you're a high school golfer out there that's aspiring to play collegiately. I think because he is so recently removed from making that college decision, I think a lot of his insight will actually be very helpful for you trying to make that transition into playing college. We also talked a lot about our faith and what God means to us. And so really, really grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, from Columbia University, the Columbia Lions, shout out in the Upper West Side, Manhattan.
Yep. Morningside Heights.
Come on. We have joining us on the show today, Alejandro Formosa from San Mateo, California, freshman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, James. Excited.
Yeah, bro. Thank you so much for hopping on. I think it's going to be a fun one. Alejandro, we talked a little bit about this off air. Obviously, growing up in San Mateo, a little bit outside of San Jose, kind of in the Bay Area, you literally have a Steph Curry jersey behind you.
Yep.
Golden State fan, go Dubs, around 500 this year. Oh, hopefully KP can save y'all a season.
Hopefully. Yeah, we need him. We need Curry to get healthy. Hopefully we'll have a good season making the playoffs. That would be nice.
That's right. Let's send Curry out right over the next 2-3 years. A lot better than my Grizzlies right now, honestly.
Yeah.
I think we played the Clippers.
You guys did beat us in like 23 or in like the play-in. I remember that one stung a lot. Like
in the play-in.
I think it might have been the first round of the playoffs or something.
First round of the playoffs when y'all had Jordan Poole. Yeah, I mean, that was literally, literally my Instagram feed right now is like, gosh, Caroline and I joked about this last night. Literally on my Instagram feed, it's all like Ja, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson, and then Desmond Bain. And it's like these like sad montage highlight videos.
Them together, yeah.
Of them together. And then I was joking about it. I was like, literally, we just made it to the second round. We had this is an NBA Finals team. I'm like,
playoffs again.
Yeah, I was like, dude, chill out. We weren't even that, we were good, obviously. If anyone's from Memphis listening to the show, I respect to that team, but we didn't win an NBA championship, so get out of y'all's feelings. Anyways, say that to say, Bay Area's finest, Alejandro Formosa. Alejandro, I would love to hear a little bit about your origin stories. How'd you get introduced to the game of golf? Did your parents introduce you to the game? Obviously, I know you have siblings and things like that, but what did it look like growing up in that area for you?
Yeah. I mean, before golf, I played, a lot of other athletes would tell you we all played baseball, basketball, football growing up. I was born into a competitive family. My dad played college football at San Francisco State. So I kind of have that competitive drive in me. I have an older brother who played basketball in high school. We played wiffle ball, basketball, any sport you can name in the backyard. So I've always kind of had that competitiveness in me. And then I would probably say around 10 years old is when I first picked up a golf club. My dad kind of introduced me to it. He didn't play a lot. He did play a good amount, but There's like a local like 9-hole par 3 course 15 minutes from my house, and he took me there once. Actually, it's on YouTube, my first time ever golfing. He like filmed a little clip. So it's always cool going back to see like my first time ever kind of playing on the course. And yeah, after
Your dad was the OG golf streamer
dude,
back
yeah,
in.
he was like, I mean, he idolized Casey Neistat. I don't know if people know who Casey Neistat is, but that was kind of his idol. He wanted to really pick up YouTube. But yeah, picked up golf at 10 and just kind of got the bug. Like I fell in love with the like the individual aspect of it, how I don't have to rely on other players or other teammates. Like if I make a mistake, it's on me. Like taking all that accountability. If I play well, that's because of me. I really kind of love that part of golf. But like still growing up in middle school, like elementary school, like I still played baseball, basketball, flag football. Like ended up playing basketball in high school, freshman year of high school, as well as golf. I ended up quitting baseball right before high school. Actually, my 12U Little League team was one game away from ESPN. We went really, really far. We won our division tournament, and then we won our section tournament, and then we were in the championship of our regional tournament to play for NorCal, which is like, I don't know if people follow Little League World Series, but like this was one game away from being on ESPN. And we were up 3-0 going to the bottom of the sixth and lost 6-3, which was a heartbreaker. But I mean, that was a pretty good way to end my kind of baseball career, I would say. Ended up going to
I would
Cooperstown after that.
I would actually say you downplayed that. I literally have it pulled up in front of me. If anybody wants to check out the Columbia Alliance, homepage, it's had the game-winning hit as part of the 2019 San Mateo National Little League team to win their sectional tournament for the first time in 45 years.
Yeah, that
Father
was
was a
pretty cool.
dog, y'all. He was a dog.
Yeah, we were actually that's funny that you brought that up because that was the sectional tournaments. That was to go to the regional tournament, and that game went to extra innings. It was, I want to say it was like 1-1 for the longest time. It was like a pitcher's duel, and it was the bottom of the sixth. I ended up getting a single, so I was on second base, 2 outs, and my teammate hits one up the middle, goes up the middle. I'm rounding third, and I'm waiting for my coach to give me a signal, and he gives me the stop signal, and I run straight through it, and I get thrown out at the plate to send it to extra innings. And I was just like, I was heartbroken. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I just ran through a stop sign and lost my team the game. And then we ended up getting out of the top of the seventh. It was they had like bases loaded with like 1 out. We ended up getting out with no runs. And then bottom of the seventh, I was like kind of doing the math on like when you see like kind of the batting order, I was like, I might have a chance to get up this inning. And sure enough, like 2 outs, man, on first and third, like my at bat, and hit one oppo to right field and got the game winning hit. So that was pretty cool.
I'm thinking of the equivalent, the golf equivalent to your coach saying, you're on 18, it's your 54th hole or whatever to win a
I got a
tournament, and
one-shot
it's a
lead on a
par
par
five.
five with water on the right. He tells me to lay up, and I'm pulling 3-wood and going straight after that green, and that's going 40 yards in the water. 100%. I feel like that's as equivalent as you can get.
My gosh. So don't do
Yeah.
that. So don't do that.
No, don't do
If
that.
baseball taught you
Listen to your
anything,
coach. Listen to your coach. But yeah, so like I played baseball as long as I could, and then baseball and golf obviously the same season in high school for me. So I ended up choosing golf, and I kind of knew like at the age of like 12, 13 that like I do love golf more than all these other sports. And then freshman year of high school, I played basketball, like I said, and that was kind of me. Like I love basketball, and I try to figure out if I could balance both golf and basketball in high school, and I found out really fast that that's not possible. Like I'm traveling for these tournaments on the weekends while at basketball practice. Like I'm going to these tournaments, I'm missing basketball practice, and because of that I'm riding the bench. I quickly realized that I need to pick one and choose it, and golf was for me like no brainer. I'm choosing that like 100% of the day. And that was the best decision I could have made. And I would say after freshman year, I was like, I want to do this in college. Like I enjoy this a lot. I feel like I could play at like a high level. At that time, like I wasn't top ranked at all. I was probably like 300 in my class, somewhere around there, like 400. Like I was nowhere near being a top recruit. But I was like, I'm just gonna put all my time and effort to this. Like something I kind of pride myself on is if I want to do something, I'm gonna try as hard as I can to do that. Like I'm gonna put all my effort into doing that. So I told myself after freshman year, I was like, I want to play collegiate golf. I want to be the best golfer that I can. So after that, I started the recruiting process, emailing as much coaches as possible, as well, like get my game into college shape to try to get recruited. And I would say probably after my sophomore year, summer after sophomore year is really when I started taking my boom. Like I started shooting under par. I started gaining my confidence. I started to get a little bigger. That's kind of when I opened my eyes. Well, I opened my eyes and I said like, wow, I can actually do this. I can play at the Division 1 level. And I started to get recruited. Had coaches kind of come watch me. Like at that time, I was able to email. They weren't able to email me back. And yeah, the recruited process for me was definitely an interesting one with like the NCAA roster limit at the time. But I kind of kept my head down and tried to play the best golf that I could.
Yeah, can you explain that's a unique scenario? I've heard, I mean, even guys on the show, juniors
Mhm.
and seniors and fifth year seniors, they talk about how COVID influenced their recruiting outcomes as well because guys were getting fifth years and extra years and stuff like that. So it made the pool saturated. You think that you're kind of free of that, but then they cut rosters to 8 or 9 guys per team. Can you talk about how that has influenced even your class of where people ended up in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly like a pretty tough moment. Like I know they were definitely talking about it for a while that they were gonna like cut roster limits, but like there wasn't like a finalized statement even after I committed. So a lot of teams they weren't sure if this whole settlement was gonna happen. So they were really scared to recruit kids. They were like weren't sure if they were gonna have a space for recruits on their roster. So a lot of these schools weren't even throwing out offers, even though at the time that they should have, just because they weren't sure if this like court case with the NCAA like roster limits
Yeah.
is going to happen. So a lot of these schools that I was talking to, they were saying like we really really like you, but we have to wait because we don't know what's happening. So that definitely made it really stressful. And the uncertainty of like, am I even going to get on a roster at this point, or like, do I have to settle for a school? So it was definitely really stressful, but I would say worked out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Was there ever a point where you're like, okay, maybe I need to go like JUCO route, or if I want to continue playing, or was that ever even like, in the discussion? You always had options to play at the D1 level.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
always had options to play in
yeah,
the Division 1 level. Like
yeah,
I probably had a pool of like I would say 10-ish schools that I knew like wanted me. There were definitely like I already had like offers from schools that like did really want me, just like kind of
yes.
waiting on like the top Division 1 schools to see like
Hmm.
what their decision is, because those were the schools that really got impacted by it the most, just because like they had these big rosters, they have all this money, they don't know what to do, what they're going to be end up doing with it.
The stress level wasn't as much, hey, I'm not gonna have a place to play next year. It was more where. I mean, the question
Yeah,
is just
where?
where.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where? Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I was playing junior year, I was playing some really good golf. I got some pretty good eyes to come watch me. I went on some pretty cool visits as well.
Yeah, can you talk about closing up your recruitment process? Talk about different recruiting visits that you went on, and then can you tie that in with, how'd you end up in Columbia in the first place?
Yeah, for sure. So, like, I was really early in emailing coaches. I probably sent 50 emails freshman year, like, kinda right after freshman year when I really wanted to play college golf. So, I kinda got my name out there super early, and, right after June 15th after your sophomore year is when coaches can start emailing you. I remember waking up that morning, kind of seeing probably 10, 15 emails from Division 1 schools, and I was like, "Whoa, this is pretty cool." So, right then and there, I started hopping on phone calls with a lot of California schools, like from down to all the UCs and like kind of the state schools, and then some schools outside of California. And then my first visit was actually my backyard at Stanford. That was probably like Stanford being my first visit, and them having like their own golf course on their campus, them having a 400-yard double-sided range, like 3 putting greens with different grass. Like I'm looking at this like, oh my gosh, like this is college golf here. Like that was super eye-opening. And then it was also cool going after that, going down to Southern California and visiting like D3 schools. I went on visits with like Claremont, McKenna, Pomona Pitzer, seeing those schools, kind of seeing the big like variety of like the top dog of D1 versus like D3 schools that are great academically, and can still compete. But I was kind of just going on all the visits I could, going down to like Cal Poly, going down to Riverside, going down to Santa Barbara. And then when I started expanding my emails to outside schools, I started getting replies from like University of Wisconsin. And then I sent all the Ivies and I got like Columbia, Harvard, I got all those. And I kind of like I didn't really like Ivies didn't cross my mind too much as a freshman, sophomore. I'm just being from the West Coast. Like I always thought I was gonna go to a California school because there's so much golf there. The weather's perfect. All the academics are great. I didn't think that I needed to really leave California. But then after kind of doing my research on like these schools, I was like, whoa, like Columbia University in New York City. That sounds super cool. Like an Ivy League school. That sounds really, really dope. So I ended up hopping on a call with Coach Muller, and we had a great conversation. It probably lasted like 45 minutes, which is pretty long for like an introduction call. And I got a really good vibe from him. And I would after tournaments, I would send him my updates, and there were times where I would just get no response from him for like months, and I was like, I guess like the door at Columbia is closed. And then I kind of saw them like committing guys for my year, and I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. And then like he would also then sometimes he would respond to my text, and I'll never forget I was playing down at Callaway Worlds in Palm Springs, and this was I want to say the summer after my junior year, kinda late summer, yeah, mid to late summer after my junior year when, like, people are already committing. You should I was kind of in the time where I was like, I might have to start committing pretty soon, and not a text, not a phone call, not an email. I see Coach Muller on the first tee of that tournament, and I was like, "Wait, is he recruiting me?" Like, I felt like he was dodging all my texts or anything, and I played 7 holes. I played well. I was like 2 under through 7, and he told my dad, he was like, "I'm gonna call him tonight, make sure he picks up." And, like, he literally flew that morning and flew that night, to watch me
Whoa.
play, and I get a call from him saying, "We want you, like, we want you on the team. We think you would be a great part of, like, team culture." And after the call, he goes, we want to get this done in, like, 2 to 3 weeks." And I was like, "Whoa." Like, that didn't even cross my mind that I was gonna have to make a decision, like, so fast. And I was like, "Whoa." And at that time, I was still talking to Stanford, I was still talking to at the University of Wisconsin, Santa Barbara, but I was like, "Wow, like, this is it. This is where recruiting is gonna start ramping up." And he wanted me to come visit New York, he wanted to show me the campus, show me the facility. In between that time of me getting that phone call and me visiting New York, I got a random text message on my phone from the University of Michigan, and they just reached out. I was like, "Hey, Alejandro, just want to reach out. We're interested. We've seen you post some really good scores." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is happening right now. I'm getting calls from texts from schools all over, like Michigan, like
Yeah.
that.
It's like,
Like Michigan didn't
no,
even cross
no,
my mind.
stop it.
Like,
Stop.
yeah, like Michigan, like it's an amazing school. It didn't even cross my mind that like I could go there." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So I ended up scheduling my Michigan visit right after the Columbia visit. So I ended up flying to New York, visited New York, met with the coach, had an amazing time, saw the campus. That was like my second time being in New York City. And then after that, I flew to Ann Arbor, and just kind of you get two different views. You get the city and you get like the big college town. So I got really two cool perspectives there. And we kind of sat down. I was like emailing the Michigan coach, and I was like, "Hey, like I have an offer from Columbia. Like I don't have a lot of time. What are your thoughts?" And it was basically like we want to watch you play more. There's not enough time. And all the same with like kind of the other schools. They were all like USC as well. They said like we need more time. Like we got to figure out what this NCAA thing is going to be like. So that made my decision pretty easy. I obviously loved Columbia, and there was no chance that I was gonna give up this Columbia offer. Like it was too good to be true. I'm gonna be playing golf in New York City at one of the most prestigious schools in the US. Like, yeah, I'm all board. So I ended up calling the coach and told him like, yeah, I want to be here. I'm excited. And my parents, they were beyond supportive. They helped me kind of understand that college is your path to like your future. Like I knew that I wanted to go play golf at a school that had great academics that like I knew I was gonna like. And yeah, I was kind of just beyond grateful to have the opportunity to play at an Ivy League school.
What does a 48-hour recruiting visit to Columbia in Manhattan
Yeah.
look like?
Yeah, so basically, like, I got on the plane. I actually took my golf clubs because the Michigan coach wanted to see me, like, hit balls on their facility. So we fly down to Manhattan, and it was me, my dad, and my mom, and we got, like, the smallest hotel ever. Like, obviously, like we were there for 2 nights, or I think it was just, like, 1 night, and there was literally, like, 2 beds, like, almost as big as, like, my dorm, basically. Like, it was tiny, and I was like, "Oh my gosh," like, that was my 2nd time being in New York, like, ever. And I was like, wow, we were kind of stayed at Columbus Circle, so kind of close to Times Square. And we walked around the first day, looked at the city, kind of like it was in August, so the weather was great. It was still hot. Walked around the city. And then I met with coach on campus. He basically showed me around campus. We went to the facility. And then that night, I actually had dinner with one of my mom's college friend's son who plays football at Columbia, who plays football at Columbia. And we basically had a conversation, him breaking down what it's like being an athlete at Columbia. Like, it's going to be tough. Like, you're going to have to battle a top education with a Division I sport. It's not going to be easy, but if you're up for it, if you can really like manage your time, it's going to be the best time of your life. And that was like, wow, like you're in the middle of New York City, like you can't get much better than that. So that was super cool. And then literally going from New York to Ann Arbor and kind of staying. I think I was in Ann Arbor for. We didn't even stay at a hotel. We were there for 5 hours. Got to walk around campus, hit balls at their facility, and then met with their coaches, and then hopped on the plane and flew back home. Yeah.
Obviously, the top-notch education, like an Ivy League education, that takes precedent over a lot of things. Like that will sway your decision more than, top-notch facilities. Like you kind of mentioned, visiting Stanford and kind of having that experience. But there's a piece of it that I would be curious about of, okay, hey, I just committed to go play golf at a school in the middle of Manhattan. I guess one of my concerns would be access. Like, how am I gonna, have the tools and resources and, the ease? Obviously, you said there's a facility on campus,
Hmm.
but like, was that a barrier for you of like, hey, like, what does getting out to a golf course look like? Maybe
Yeah.
can you like sell Columbia in that respect? Because I think if I were to go, even like live in Manhattan in the first place, I'd be like, where am I gonna play golf anyway?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely difficult. I would say like during the fall we didn't have any problems because all of our fall events are kind of stacked up in the beginning of the fall just because we're getting all those events in while the weather's great. So we kind of have three courses that we rotate that are all 25 minutes from campus. We have a team sprinter van with recliner seats that we sit in that is very comfortable. So like we on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, we like 1 o'clock hop in the van, go to these courses, and our coach is really good at kind of letting us do what we need to work on. He's not going to say, "Oh, you got to do this." Like if you need to hit balls, go hit balls. If you need to putt, go putt. Go on the course, grab a cart, go on the course. So we have a lot of good access at these courses and good relationships that we can kind of just take a cart and go out and play. So that part of like the fall is really nice. And then you kind of get into late October, November when the weather starts getting pretty bad and like these courses start shutting down. And we have like two hitting bays, three if you kind of go in the putting room. We have a whole simulator room with quads. We have two quads and then two threes that we use. We share with the women's team. Then we also have like a pretty big putting room that we have. Like it's not ideal at all hitting off mats, but like while I was getting recruited, did see that there was recent graduates who have gone pro out of Columbia. Like we have three guys right now. Actually, we just had like our senior dinner a week ago and met with two alums who are both pro right now. And they're making money and they're playing some good golf. So like realizing that like just because you're good at Columbia doesn't mean like your pro career is over. Like you're not just giving that away. Like it's not. You're playing at a amazing facility like Stanford or like Alabama or something. But like it's doable. Like your swing is gonna like obviously be different just because you're not hitting off grass and you're being hitting off mats. But like I think for me that was a good time to try out things that I wouldn't try normally. Just the off season, if I want to feel a new swing feel, if I want to kind of change putters, do that. And it was definitely tough for me just being from California my whole life, never experiencing like not playing golf year round. I think that definitely hurt me a lot of how to structure my practice like indoors in a simulator and on like artificial turf. Like all the bunch of the other guys on the team, like two of the other freshmen are from like Nashville and Virginia, where like courses do shut down, so they do have to spend some time on the simulator. But that kind of got me in a little trouble of like not knowing like how to structure my practice indoors in a simulator.
Yeah, I mean, you are a little bit spoiled in that respect of not
Yeah,
having to experience that at all. That said, for me, that answers the question, hey, you're not lugging your golf clubs on the subway. Maybe that's a silly thought, but the fact that you
yeah,
have a 25-minute commute to
yeah,
three of the courses that you play regularly, that's better than even some high major D1 programs. Like some people are commuting 45 minutes to get to the place they're going to practice. So that's actually
yeah.
not bad at all.
And being having these relationships about these courses where like one of the courses there's barely anyone out there. We can just take a cart and go play. Like we
Yes.
can go play 9 holes if we want. Like grass range. Like it's like you would think in the middle of the Columbia being middle of Manhattan, there's golf nowhere. But I mean, 25 minutes in a sprinter van when you got a TV and reclining seats is not too bad. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay.
That's easy. That's easy.
Yeah.
You started teasing this out a little bit, but let's go here with the conversation of you kind of even talked about what the winter practices look like. what that adjustment looked like from, playing in California. Now you're a freshman here at Columbia University, you making that adjustment. Like you go out your first tournament and a second at the Metro Intercollegiate, the tournament you guys host, come out like super hot out the gate. I think you have a really awesome fall. You have a couple top 25 finish, top 20 finish. You like have momentum immediately coming into your freshman year. Probably some of that is really validating of like, hey man, like I made a right decision, even
Mhm.
outside of like this social life, the city life, friends that you've been able to connect with, which we talked about a little bit off air. But can you talk about that transition from high school to college from a playing perspective? What did that look
Yeah.
like for you?
For
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I always knew college golf was like gonna be different and difficult at the same time. I was like fortunate enough after my senior year of high school, I got invited to these big tournaments, these AJGA Invitationals, these Western Junior PGA. So that summer leading into college golf, I got a good feel of what like really, really competitive golf is gonna look like. Like not just Northern California junior golf where they put a pin in the middle of the green and call it a day. But I think my first tournament when I got second, it was probably one of like I would say that it was the hardest tournament condition wise that I've played. Like the greens were super firm, the pins were tucked, and the rough was 4 inches and thick. It was almost unfindable. Like you could not find your ball if you hit the ball in the rough and no one had eyes on it. They had literally had people on almost every hole placing flags to try to find your ball. And it says by the scores, like the winning score was over par. So it was a grind. You needed to have the best kind of mental strategy. You need to accept not making birdies out there and accept making pars. Coach talks to us about this a lot is like championship golf is who can make the most pars. That's kind of what it is. You got to be like he calls it a tap in champion. If you can tap in on a lot of these holes, like tap in for par, that is a okay. Like it's tough going from junior golf to shooting 10 under, 12 under, and then going from college golf for over pars winning tournaments. I think for me, even still, it's a tough adjustment to make because obviously going out and making 20 birdies in a tournament is like amazing. But that's and the reality is I think that's just not really going to happen when you're playing these like really tough setups in college golf. So like for me, that was a pretty big change to wow, this is a pretty big stage here. This is college golf. And I felt like I adjusted it to pretty well my first event. I mean, going out and placing second, losing by one shot. Like I think that helped me gain a lot of confidence that I belong here. I can actually keep up with these 21-year-old guys. Just
Yeah.
being an 18-year-old, that helped me with some validation. And really realizing that like making 20 birdies is not really going to happen. So I'm still kind of adjusting to that of like yeah, like I need to be okay making pars. Like it's frustrating, but it's boring, but I mean that's what championship golf is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, tapering your expectations for
Mhm,
sure. It's
100%.
probably a big
100%.
adjustment heading into there. Talking about that transition, you have a solid fall. Can you talk about the transition socially? Like we talked a little bit about it off air, and this is not anybody listening to the show. It's like this is not like you do your own thing as it pertains to your faith in God and all that stuff. Like we're not like trying to sway you one way or the other, but can you talk about how you coming in with kind of that worldview and wanting to seek out some community? Can you talk about how that made your adjustment easier as you transition literally thousands of miles away from home to a
For
place
sure.
you never know? You're trying to figure out what this is like socially. Can you talk about that adjustment? Maybe moving to New York City, but then also how your faith helped you in that area.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so like literally never being like I've never been away from my parents for longer than a week. So moving across the country to the biggest city in the world, it was scary realizing my parents aren't there to help me with laundry. They're not there to kind of like hold my hand to make dinner for me. So kind of like really realizing like I'm on my own out here in the biggest city in the world. That was really eye opening. And for me, like I kind of grew up in a religious kind of family, but I didn't take religious as seriously as like I should have. I did go to a Catholic middle school and elementary school, but I was kind of just there like doing the rules, wasn't really listening too much. But not until like 2 weeks I got into school, I realized I have friends, but I'm like also lonely. Like I'm living by myself. Like I'm in this alone. So my teammate who lives 4 doors down from me, he got kind of in contact with this Columbia Christian athlete Bible study, and he talked to me. It was like, hey, like I was wondering if you want to come to this Bible study with me for the first time. And I was like, yeah, let's do this together. And I ended up going to this Bible study. And it kind of really opened my eyes to like what truly the Christian faith was. And kind of just that feeling of like God is there beside me. He's holding my hand this whole path, this whole process that I'm going through. Like the good and bad, like he's gonna be there. Like no one else is gonna be there beside you throughout your life but him. and kind of just realizing that I'm not alone. Like I do have someone that is with me while I'm like making these hard decisions in my life was a good feeling. Like really kind of what's the word, like satisfying. So then I started really going to those Bible studies every week, started to go to a church, me and Sam together. And
Mhm.
it was my process of like going to college, like adjusting to that a lot easier. Knowing that like, I have this relationship with God, I have this relationship with Jesus, and knowing that like God has a plan. Like college is very stressful. This
Mhm.
is where you figure out your future. But at the end of the day, like God has a plan for you. If you really put your faith in Him, good things will happen. So relying on that reassurance was really, really helpful.
I think it's helpful for you to share that because not only are you playing a college sport at the D1 level at a super high level, you're also in a space that is hyper competitive. You're in a space that is very academic focused and driven, where it's like you're in an environment where for it was just is a really awesome thing. Your peers are hyper ambitious. So I think to hear you share, what keeps you in line, like what keeps you, at peace, your faith in God, namely. I think that's a helpful tip of like, you're making this adjustment. You're going to college. This is a new transition. You're on your own. You're not with your family. You are going to be lonely your freshman year. I think that is a universal feeling and most people experience. But I'm saying like, okay, whatever wherever you're coming into this, your advice of getting plugged in, we would probably like advise, hey man, get plugged into a faith community, a Christian community. That's is vital, man. It's vital to you, like keeping your head above water and knowing that however I perform, I know that you're feel comfortable with me sharing this. Like you literally were in the top 5, top 10 in your last tournament in Daytona, and then like kind of gets a little bit loose in the third round. Like you don't finish
Mhm.
as well as you want to finish. Like how are you gonna like keep yourself in equilibrium? How are you gonna keep yourself like peace, knowing that the performance, whether it's in school and class on the course, like some of that's gonna fluctuate
Yeah.
for us, like without our faith, like it's hard to steady and keep us
Yeah.
going. So
For
thanks for
sure.
sharing.
Yeah, it's just also kind of just realizing like when you are having those tough times on the course, like kind of just being grateful of the opportunity you have. Like I'm trying to appreciate that more of like having tough rounds, kind of just looking around, just like how grateful I am to be here. Like I get to play golf, but there's people who are out there who don't even have homes, don't know what their next meal is. I think that's something that people take for granted of just like, dang, I just shot an 8.5.
Mhm.
This is the worst thing ever. When trust me, there are a lot worse things out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like what I talked about of like really kind of having a gateway when you kind of get into college. Like people think when they go into college, people think like, oh my God, this is freedom. I'm finally away from my parents. And I kind of thought that as well. Like I'm finally away from my parents, like I can do whatever I want. But then like reality sets in pretty fast. Like after those 2 weeks, like reality set in. It's like, oh, my family's not there anymore. I need to like kind of like figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, that's right, and there's a kind of the idea of freedom is actually being disciplined, so, like, that discipline actually, like, leads to freedom. Like, if you
Yeah.
being completely free, it can be a dangerous place to be in the first place.
Exactly.
Thanks for sharing, man, I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Kind of a cool thing that you got to do, you talked a little bit about, hey, off season, hitting off mats a ton, but immediately out of the off season, you had a really, really cool opportunity to go play at Riv, getting to compete some of the top players in the country, and then if you win that tournament, you get an exemption to play in a PGA tournament next season. And so you come out of a really solid fall, your freshman year, you get selected to play in this event. Can you walk through like excitement? And then also obviously like we know what happened on the back end, but yeah, I'll
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
I'll let you tell that story and yeah, what'd you take away from it? It
Mhm.
sounded amazing. So like I would love
Yeah,
to
for
hear a little.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, so, every year at Columbia, we get a great opportunity to be able to play in this, Collegiate Showcase, where it's basically 3 alumni sponsor you into this event, and it takes place at Riv the Monday before the Genesis, which is now a signature event. So you got Scottie, Rory, you got all those top guys that are playing in it. I got the call from my coach, and he was like, "Hey, you had the best ranking throughout the fall season. We're gonna select you to go play at Riv." And I was like, wow, how about this opportunity? Like, if I put together one good round, I get to play in a PGA Tour event. Like, some of these top players in the country couldn't even like come close to this opportunity. So I was like, wow, this is great. And it being, I think it was, yeah, it was in February, so it was still snowing, like terrible weather in New York, and this was kind of just another opportunity to get out of that, like go down to was sunny LA, which it wasn't too sunny when I was there, but would have hit balls on grass and kind of just like shift out of, like, the simulators and, like, the artificial grass. So I ended up going there on a Thursday, and I touched down on Thursday and immediately grab my clubs and go straight to LA Country Club. 18 holes in at LA Country Club. It was phenomenal experience. Like literally waking up at 3 a.m., hopping on like a 6:30 flight, flying 6 hours all the way to the West Coast. That did not stop me at all from having energy having at LA Country Club. Like I was so pumped. Like I just got 12 hours of sleep. I was super excited to play that course. And that it was kind of just cool seeing the ball fly again. Like being from California, I never had to deal with not playing golf for 4 months, 3 months, like being indoors so much. So it was kind of just like a little bit of shaking off rust, but getting back into tournament shape. I got to prepare for this. And then the next day I got to play Sahith Country Club, which is another just great event. They host a really big junior tournament there. And that was just a phenomenal experience. One of the alums hosted me out there. And the weather there was 75 degrees as it was at LA Country Club. I was wearing shorts. I was sending videos to my friends who did not like that at all back at New York. So that was pretty cool. And then the next day I got to go to Sherwood Country Club, which is again an amazing course, like top of the top. And I was just like a kid in the candy shop. I was like, wow, I haven't experienced this in a while, and now I'm getting thrown at some of the best courses in the world. Like this is great. And then I get a day to practice, and on Sunday, like kind of leading up to the tournament, looking at the forecast, that Monday was going to be nasty. There was going to be a lot of rain, a lot of wind. So I was kind of just like mentally preparing, like this is going to be a battle. Like it's going to be overpowered is going to win this tournament. Like usually in the best conditions possible, like one under gets in, like that wins it. So now like seeing this kind of forecast with water or with rain and wind come into play, like it's just going to be grind. So waking up that Monday morning, super pumped, super excited, like no matter like rain or shine, like I'm just happy that I'm here. This is so cool, like something definitely not to take for granted. And I had so much support there. I had about around like 30 people from the Bay Area, like family and friends come down to come watch. So I had so much support out there, which is so cool just to kind of know that like, I have the support system behind me. Play well, play bad, like I have these people that I can rely on. And so I got the unlucky kind of short end of the stick to start on hole 10 and have one of the first tee times. It was still like sun was barely coming up. I think tee time was like 7:20 or 7:30. For those who don't know, hole 10 is like one of the most iconic holes. It just has so many like iconic memories on that hole. Like that hole will make or break your round. And I was starting on it, so I was like, all right, here we go. And there was no question I was pulling driver. I was not laying up on that hole, especially in front of 40 people out there watching me tee off. Like I'm ripping driver, I'm trying to drive this green. Like let's start early. And at that time, it's starting to rain already. Like it started raining when I was hitting balls on the range, so it was starting to get nasty early. And that was probably the most nervous I've been on a tee box, just with like 40 people out there watching me. I have 30 friends and family supporting me. And after they call my name, I kind of just went like I don't know, like brain kind of shut off and just tried to put it as the best swing as I could possible, and I ended up driving it to like 30 feet off of my first tee shot of the day on that iconic hole, and like that really helped me like calm the nerves down. I was like, all right, here we go. End up two putting for birdie, and that's how I started my day. And then throughout that round, like it was tough. Like with the rain, the greens were still rolling at 12, 13. Like they were fast. It started to rain harder and harder throughout the round. Um, and quickly I realized, I don't know if I'm gonna be finishing this round. Like some of these greens started to flood. There were areas of the course that were flooding. And sure enough, after my eighth hole, so while I was on 18, you could kind of see a bunch of these greens are getting flooded. And I kind of knew at that time that this probably wasn't going to finish. So they ended up blowing the horns. And unfortunately, we didn't go out to finish, which did suck. I mean, I had an amazing like time. I was so grateful to have the opportunity to go out there and just to see my like friends and family, like not seeing them for so long. That was just super cool. And like unfortunately, like with not finishing, like yes, that sucked, but yeah, I was still kind of happy that I was there.
I following it on Instagram, I think the Columbia Golf page had posted it, and I got to see like literally 30 to 40 of like the family out supporting. You said a little earlier you had the biggest gallery there, which felt
Yeah,
really
yeah,
cool. But then also them posting your first hole on number 10, Alejandro Formosa drives the green on his first hole. I'm like,
yeah.
bro, Alejandro's gonna win this thing. Like he's literally gonna get a tour start. So I was literally in my cubicle. I guess this was like, I can't remember how long ago this was. I was like, bro, I was so bummed that you didn't
Yeah,
get to finish that round because I was like,
I
bro,
know.
this is,
Yeah, and I
gonna
was one
be
of the I
crazy.
think I wanna say I was around 3 over through 8, which at the
Hmm.
time, like, that was a pretty good score. There was nobody under par, like, I think the leading score was 1 over through, like, 1 or, like, 1 over
Yeah.
through 2.
Yeah.
So, like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and I was the first one out there, so I was, like, kinda setting the tone, and, like, I wasn't playing poorly, like, obviously, like, if you tell someone you're 3 over through 8, they're like, "Oh, it's terrible," but, like, with the
Hmm.
conditions, like, I was completely happy with that. I was, like, kind of
Yeah.
in a pretty good tone.
Felt like you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Such a cool opportunity. I hope you get the opportunity to do it again here in the
Mhm.
next couple of years. That'd be awesome. Can you talk about different tournaments that you're looking forward to competing in this spring?
The one that circled on the calendar is the Ivy League Championship. We're playing at Baltusrol Lower Course, which is has hosted just
Mm-hmm.
so many like iconic tournaments. That for me is the one that's circled on the calendar. I'm super excited to playing that. That's going to be one of the hardest tests of golf. It's like my coach said, it's going to be championship golf. They're going to be greens are going to be firm, pins are going to be tucked. That's going to be a true test of my golf game. But we are actually going to spring break next week at Pinehurst. So we're going
Fun.
to be playing like Tobacco Road, like all those courses out there. And
Wow.
then yeah, we're playing East Carolina's event, staying at Pinehurst for around 4 or 5 days and kind of get a good golf trip in there. So I'm super pumped for that as well. But yeah, the spring season is gonna really be a good test of kind of how I can handle these elements of like not so good weather. Like it's obviously like it's been a pretty rough start to the spring season just with shaking off rust of being indoors for 4 months. But I mean there's been a lot of like good signs of like even at Daytona, like after the first 2 rounds, I think I was in the top 10. So there's been definitely good signs, but at the same time, it's just like trying to really get my game to all come together at the right time. And like my coach said, we need to peak in April. Like Ivy League
Mhm.
championships, that's what we need to peak. All these tournaments, they're gonna be build up to that one tournament in Ivy League. So yeah, that's gonna be really exciting.
What have you learned your freshman year?
Yeah, I mean, like I kind of talked about earlier, like shooting 2 over par is
Hmm.
a good
Yeah, that's good.
score. And I think recently I've really struggled with like self-doubt and kind of like that acceptance of like changing my like expectations to that. Especially coming out of the gates hot, like placing second in my first like college event. Like it was really hard for me to get out of that mindset where like that's not gonna happen every time. Like you're gonna have bad rounds. Like you gotta learn how to accept those bad rounds and learn how to minimize those bad rounds. So I think for me that was really that has still kind of been pretty tough of changing those expectations along with like people don't realize at Ivy Leagues. I mean, they should realize, but like we have one of like the top education. We're going through some really tough classes at the same time, realizing how to manage work on top of like traveling. Like when we went to Savannah, Georgia, we were there for I think 6 days because our flight got canceled because of the storm. So we're now missing extra class due to
Hmm.
being stuck in Savannah and trying to figure out like how am I going to finish this homework? How am I going to take these notes? Like who am I going to reach out to? I'm like doing homework in the airport, doing homework on the plane. Like people don't really see that part of it. Even in the van going to practice, doing homework. There's only so much time in a day that you have to either like do work, play golf, or socialize, and it's
Yeah.
really important. It's really important that like you can really structure your day and how you're going to take care of all those things.
Do professors work with you being an athlete? Are they pretty lenient or not?
Yeah, I would say my professors this semester are very lenient just because like I mean, I'm not skipping class just to skip class. Like I got a pretty good excuse of
That's right.
why I'm missing school. And like when I tell them that I'm playing golf for 12 hours in a day, they kind of are like, "Whoa, okay, yeah, I feel like you don't really have a lot of time to
Mhm.
like finish this work." So it is nice that I do get some wiggle room, but it's not a lot. It's not like, "Oh, I'm just gonna give you an A just because." Like I still gotta get my work done. I still gotta be on top of my stuff.
Yeah, I cannot imagine at an Ivy League school that they would be giving out any A's just
No.
because they
Yeah,
like your personality. They probably
definitely not.
probably there's
Definitely
not
not.
too much of that going on. Ladies and gentlemen, Alejandro Formosa, Columbia University freshman, first freshman that we've had on the show so far. So thankful for him to
Appreciate
hop
that.
on. Yeah, absolutely. Share his experience about what is it like playing collegiate golf at Columbia in Manhattan, and then also just being able to share a little bit about his transition from out in California to Manhattan. So we're just super grateful that he's on the show. We're gonna get things going. Episode number, I'm gonna have to like think real quick. This is our 13th episode. We're gonna get into the swing state six pack. Alejandro, are you ready to get going?
Do it. Ready.
All right, Alejandro, let's go. First question, favorite course you've ever played?
I would say Riviera Country Club.
Honestly, like your bag of favorite golf courses, kind of
Yeah.
up there, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I
lie.
mean, we got to play Sleepy Hollow in the fall against Yale. That was really cool. Like I've gotten on
Mhm.
some pretty great courses recently.
And then more to come. Sounds
Yeah,
like
for sure. For
more to
sure.
come. Question number two. We'll go question number two. A favorite course you've never played?
I'd probably say Cyprus, just being kind of close to me, seeing buddies
Yeah.
play there.
Yeah, absolutely. How far is that from your hometown?
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Mhm.
far at all, and, like, seeing, like, the Walker Cup be there,
Mm.
like, and, obviously, like, having friends play at that course, sending me videos, I'm just like, "Wow, like, that looks sick." So,
Mhm.
hopefully one
Mhm.
day.
Question number three. We'll go dream foursome.
Probably say, give me Steph.
Get
Steph has to be in there. I'd probably throw in, let's see. I mean, I love Minwoo. I'm a big Minwoo fan. He's
Yeah.
got some of the best personality in golf. And then let's throw my brother, dude. He's got a pretty great personality as well. He always has a fun time on the course, so throw my brother in there.
What's his name?
His name's Antonio.
Antonio. Get Antonio out there, bro.
Yeah,
That
he
is a
needs to be out there.
great.
He started picking up golf like right after college or during college, and he's got the bug now. He's out there almost every day.
I know he's been playing more. Like now that he's
Mhm.
closer to retirement. Like if you and him played right now, like surely yeah,
Dude,
you would.
I mean, Steph's good. Like Steph is really good. Like I mean, like yes, like I would probably like if we're comparing handicaps or like if yeah, I would probably say I'm better. But like after watching like him and Bryson play at Lake Merced, which is like
Mhm.
literally in 45 minutes for me, like seeing some of the shots that he hit, I was just like, what the heck? Like he's hitting hybrids to like 2 feet. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is ridiculous. Like he is, I would say, the definition of an athlete. Like someone that can do
Wow.
that, like be that good on the court and then go on the golf course and also just be that good. It's so cool to watch.
You have unique context for having played the courses that he like even in that video. Heck, he played that, and then it's like, oh wait, that shot is
That
incredibly
shot is so
hard.
much harder than it looks on that on screen.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting. That's good context. So shout out to Steph. Maybe you can get him like as soon as the season gets over with. Like maybe you have,
Yeah, my
a
my
better
brother
shot.
my brother actually saw him, like, a week into college. Steph played at my home course, and my brother was out there for, like, 6 hours because he heard he was gonna be there. He was just waiting to see
Okay, so
Steph,
he's camping
and
out. Yeah.
yeah, and he got a pic with Steph,
Okay.
which
That's
is cool.
good. Shout out to Steph. Maybe he'll hear this.
Yeah.
We love you, Steph Curry. Shout out. Let's see here. Let's go Dream Foursome. Let's go favorite player on tour right now. We're gonna go. Is that Minwoo?
I would probably say Minwoo. I also am a big Scottie fan just because I have some pictures with Scottie before he won a year before he won a golf
Mhm.
tournament. Back in,
Mhm.
like, 2020, there's,
Before it
like, a
was cool. Before it was
yeah,
cool.
before people I remember I'm pretty sure my dad forced me to take a picture with him because I was, like, wanted to take a picture with, like, Ricky. It was at the Amex down in Palm Springs, and, like, Ricky and Phil were all playing in it. I was like, "I wanna take a picture with them." And then he's like, "Oh, there's a guy right here, take a picture with them." And it was ended up being Scottie Scheffler. So, like, every time I say I'm a Scottie fan, like, I just pull up a photo of me and Scottie in 2020. I was like, "Yeah, it's my guy right there."
Nah, you're day
Um,
one. You're day
but,
one.
yeah, I would say Minwoo, like, he's such a good personality, he's funny.
Yes.
It's hard not to root for him.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But let's go favorite club in your bag right now.
Give me that driver. New
Driver.
GT3.
Come on.
Yeah. Put the driver in the bag recently. I mean, I don't think I've lost strokes in the spring season off the tee. I probably
Mhm.
gained around 15 yards with the new driver. Like the amount of
Dang,
confidence I have with
Alejandro.
that thing is like it's unreal. Like it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
I had the TSR3 for around 3 years and I was like, I mean, I loved it, but I was like, it's time to get some new technology, put the GT in the bag, and yeah, I'm loving it.
Mhm. That's sick. That's sick. Favorite club in the bag. Let's see. How many is that?
I think that might have been six, I think.
I think that's five.
Was that I think. What
Favorite
was the
club or favorite course you've never played, dream foursome, favorite player, club. We're doing a six pack, so that's five
Okay, yeah,
questions.
we
We
need
got
one
one
more.
more question.
Yeah.
Alejandro, this is okay. The ultimate foodie. You guys, Alejandro Formosa is literally in the greatest city in the world. He's literally in Manhattan, best food scene. We'll say in the United States. I can't.
Mhm.
I've never been on. Never been to Tokyo. Never been all the stuff. So we're not gonna do this. One of the greatest cities for food. And he told me he's a foodie before hopping on the show in the first place. Alejandro, next tournament that you win, say you go to the conference tournament, you literally win a Baltrasol. Where are you going out to eat? Where are you going to celebrate? City that never sleeps. Where are we
Yeah.
celebrating?
Dude, Imma be honest. There's a local pizza spot right next to campus called Upside Pizza. Spicy vodka slice is
Upside.
beyond. It is beyond. It's like I literally went there today actually. Got a slice today, sat on campus, and it was I can't rave about it more. It's so good. But like I did go to K-Town about a week ago and got some like Korean food. That was really, really good.
Mhm.
One of my teammates is Indian, so his parents took me out to this Indian restaurant. That was like my first time trying Indian food. That was amazing. There's an Italian spot. I mean, there are so many different like there's so much variety out here. So much variety that you can go anywhere and it'll be good. Yeah,
Please rub it in. Like, honestly, rub it in. That is so sick.
it's great. But I would say that local pizza spot, Upside, if you're ever around Columbia, Upside Pizza is the spot to go.
Okay. Noted. Duly noted. Duly noted. Upside, if you hear this, give my guy
Maybe
an
maybe
NIL
NIL or
deal.
something,
Give him
yeah.
an NIL deal. Literally that
I will
today.
happily put it on my bag, happily.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does it. Show number 13, Alejandro Formosa. Thank you so much, bro, for hopping on. It was a treat.
Yeah, this was amazing. I really had a great time.